party has launched an initiative to secure political solution to the problem through dialogue between the government and rebels in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. As yet, no meaningful breakthrough has been made as both sides keep oscillating around several demands that include the release of pro-Machar detainees held by the government. 7 of the detainees have since been released as a concession by the government following peace negotiations in Addis Ababa.
These people will be released after legal procedures. You don't just lock people up and tomorrow you release them and say, now get out, you are released.
The cost of the war is overwhelming, with massacres being reported across the country. Thousands of survivors who have fled the war have sought refuge in neighboring countries, including Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia, among others. Many foreigners have also fled the country to the detriment of the booming businesses that have taken root in the country. Large-scale humanitarian operation has been launched to respond to the urgent needs of hundreds of thousands of civilians affected by the violence. The government of South Sudan has not spared the United Nations mission in South Sudan in its zeal to be seen to take full control of the country. The government accused the mission of allegedly harboring rebels within her premises. President Kiir claimed that the UN peacekeeping mission has been acting like a parallel government, making the remarks shortly after South Sudan Minister for Information Michael Makwei was denied entry at Bo UN office, where he had gone to assess the situation of victims sheltered at the United Nations compound.
If you, the foreigners, raise your hands from the South Sudanese, they will come together. When Riek Machar rebelled in 1991, who reconciled us with him later on? We alone reconciled, South Sudanese. We fought. He committed those atrocities in Bor, in Jongole. But after 11 years, he came back to us and we accepted him. Nobody brought him to us.
Kiir stressed that the UN should allow the government to search for guns, uniform, vehicles, among others, seeking shelters in the camp. The UN spokesman, Ms. Ariane Quintel, however, denied the allegation, saying that the organization had a policy to keep off weapons in its camp, adding that all confiscated items from the rebels would be handed over to the government. Curiously, hundreds of citizens have called on UN representative Ms. Hilde Johnson to leave the country, accusing her of partiality.
If the UN is wrong in any way, I think they can also be told, but not necessarily through demonstrations. The UN came in there to try to help the people, the Republic of South Sudan. If you even had an attitude against them, I don't think that is very helpful.
It's not clear if the two protagonists may soften their stances as soon as they both hardened. President Kiir has survived several coup attempts in the past. In 2006, it was alleged that the then Chief of Staff Oye Deng had plotted a coup against the SPLA leadership. In mid-2012, President Kiir is said to have weathered another coup attempt staged by a group of over 15 SPLA generals politically branded as Garang Boys. He survived yet another coup plot allegedly executed by Major General Simon Gatwe Duel while on an official visit to Uganda. The rebel leader, Dr. Machar, is believed to have fought a proxy war against the South Sudan by engineering the 1991 split away from the SPLA led by the late Dr. John Garang. His Nasir faction, known as the White Army, which was allied to Khartoum, is estimated to have killed more than 2,000 ethnic Dinka Boer. Over 25,000 civilians died as a result of hunger after they were displaced from their homes and their livestock taken away. After 10 years of waging deadly rebellion against the SPLA, Dr. Machar later emerged with Dr. Garang to act as a single entity in the peace negotiation under the auspices of IGAD. Their negotiations finally led to the signing of the CPA in Nairobi, Kenya, 2005. A time frame of 6 years was given for the transitional government, after which South Sudan was expected to vote for unity or separation. Following the independence of South Sudan in 2011, Dr. Machar is said to have apologized to the Dinka Bor community for the 1991 massacre executed by his forces.
Conciliation is the most difficult to achieve. In an armed struggle, you will be fighting the person you think is the oppressor. Sometimes you would turn against your own selves. And that polarized our society. Last year, August 8, I was invited to a function, the commemoration of the death of our first leader, Dr. John Garang. And suddenly I realized our communities are still divided on the issues of the struggle, of the split. Because in the split, we fought each other. I led a faction, Dr. John led a faction. And the conflict was so intense that innocent people died in the process. And I offered my apology to people who were affected, or those who were affected, either their kins died in the intense struggle of the same movement. But the difficulty is in that such apologies sometimes do not get the blessing of all.
Despite the dark cloud hanging over the heads of millions of South Sudanese, many of them still have hope that their country will come out of the conflict more stronger and prosperous.